All right, Capivision this week adds light, sweet crude oil to the charts, as well as Elliott waveform analysis to Bitcoin and an interpretation and a cryptic deciphering of the extended corrective pattern that AMC has been in for like, I don't know, a month and a half. So let's just hop into the charts and have a look. SPX in an expanded 3-3 flat as shown in blue, and this is a big deal because we're doing a huge correction, massive correction, and I don't think it's over yet. I'm going to walk through this pattern really quickly, one step at a time. I'm trying to be quick though because I got a lot to cover, The price came down from the all-time high and bounced. That gave us that first leg A to B, which was this nice little double top, and then the price broke out lower and found point C. This is the first 3 in the 3-3-5. The second 3 comes from the bounce from that new low. This was like a scary low, but it was a nice big push from that low of 4,100-ish. Came higher, came back down. Ooh, look at the bottom. And then boom, up to C. That's the second 3. Now the 5 is bigger. This is a motive waveform. And it comes down as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these are cycle waves. I have them noted as cycle waves. So what happens is I think that move from the all-time high to the end of the first 3 gave me a motive wave 1, that the corrective move higher from that point gave me motive wave 2, and the 5-wave motive waveform that came down from that point gave me motive wave 3. And after this cycle wave 5, there was a correction, and that correction gave me a motive wave 4. And I think now what we've seen is 5. The word of warning is that if 5 extends, it's just going to rocket downward, plummet like a rock. Here we go. But I actually don't believe that's what's happening, and I have reasons for that. The first is that I just don't think things are as bad as people think they are. I think most of the rise in prices is actually a matter of price gouging or corporate greed more than anything else. If everyone is expecting everything to cost more, then they'll be willing to pay more. So consumer sentiment's at all-time lows, which means people are willing to pay more than ever. So let that sink in, okay? The money supply always grows. It has to grow because there's interest owed on debt, and debt is the primary function of money creation. So if there isn't any money to pay the interest of the debt, then that's bad. That's called liquidity crunch. That would be devastating for our currency. And so inflation is a normal thing. It always happens. And if your mortgage has an interest rate and if loans are being made, then inflation has to continue or the entire monetary system doesn't work anymore. So inflation's always going to be a thing. Prices are always going to go up. But how we perceive that and how we respond as consumers is probably more indicative than what is being told to us. So personally, I'm like, whatever, inflation, who cares? Jeez, get over it already. I think the markets are about to rally. This is what it looks like. I drew this line on last week's episode, and we've had, 5 straight green days since then. So if you subscribed last week and I was like, hey, I think we're probably going to go higher. And really what I was saying at that time was that I need to see a new high. And I still need to see that new high from the last couple of weeks, pulling us above that 3,900. We really need to get up to 4,000. Really need to see the price get to 4,000 before it's like, yes, let's go. Heading higher. Everything but energy rally is on. So we're not quite there yet. So there is that word of caution, but this is looking really optimistic. We do have CPI data coming out this week on Wednesday, and if that shows or indicates that the effect of inflation is peaking, then hey, guess what? I think the markets are going to rally hard on that news. Now, I didn't say inflation. Inflation will never peak. There will always be an increase of money in the money supply. And just let that sink in. Let that sink in how in mainstream narrative, that entire concept is being misrepresented. Jeez, I hate it. Okay, anyway. So, SPX. Moving as expected. Let's just keep going here. I gotta go quicker than this. So in gold futures, I've been watching a falling wedge. I was hoping that we'd see a truncation of wave 5 and that would stop at 1785. We had this really sweet hammer form. Look at this thing. It's just got this massive tail. Huge tail. And I was thinking that'd be a great spot for it to turn around and then we'd start the everything rally. But actually, the price has dropped pretty hard on a couple of days. That was crazy. It was this Tuesday, Wednesday. And well, now it seems that the price is stopping short of reaching what the anticipated target for wave 5 would be. I think what we're doing here is building a spring. And if the markets rally, and this is the important part, I'm looking for a corrective rally in a bear market, which would be pretty strong, right? And I think gold will rally also at that time. And so if this is now pushing down below the truncated 5-wave level, I think that we're building a spring. And these two huge red candles would seem to indicate that it could be possible. And what this is a bottom coming in, and we'll see the price start to rise. If not, it can continue down for quite a ways until it finishes bottoming. And there might even be a moment here where gold and the markets are diverging, where the markets will begin their push higher, and once the SPX gets above 4,000, then gold starts to rally as well. That could be very true that gold falls until SPX crosses 4,000. So just remember that tidbit. That's probably going to be pretty important. Now, Bitcoin, this is where I got I spent a lot of time picking this thing apart. This was a hard chart to read. So I said, hey, we have super cycle wave 2 coming up, 3 ending in a diagonal triangle, and then a nice ABC correction, and then a motive waveform higher, which featured a somewhat truncated 5th. It's not truly truncated because wave 5 did extend beyond wave 3, but not much. The price then began to fall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then corrective phase coming up into B, and then another 5 waveform down, making a 535, and would actually seem to this would seem to indicate that Bitcoin's done dropping. Nice 1, 2, 3, and on our super cycle, or our mega cycle, what's the grand super cycle, there it is, time frame, this could just be a corrective wave 4, and we're waiting for 5, which is the big one. And now I understand why some people are saying Bitcoin's going to go to 100,000 to 200,000, because if Bitcoin continues to follow these increasing exponential increases through the motive waves, and we're about to see motive wave 5, then yeah, I mean, realistically, at least the all-time high is where the price can go. But if it does form, another 5-wave with a 3-wave extension, and then the 5-wave extends, and then the 5 of 5 turns into an ending diagonal triangle heading higher, like, yeah, the price could really reach up there. It really could. And I'm super bullish on Bitcoin, but not because of its price in dollars, but because of its function as a currency, that it's fungible, that it can be easily transferred, it's cheap, it's decentralized. How much better would it be for the world to have a decentralized reserve currency, right? Imagine that. That'd be so cool. I don't think it's gonna happen in my lifetime, but it would be cool. So I think that we've just seen the end of an ABC correction in Bitcoin, and the price is turning higher now. I think we're gonna need to see a sustained breakout, though. We need to get a bullish breakout of this descending broadening wedge, and then we're probably gonna go for these gap fills. So SPX starting to turn up. Gold might have a little more downside, and then turning up, and Bitcoin would of course ride the wave higher with the equities markets. Moving into crude oil. Now, this was a really interesting chart to look at because it was just like flat for a long time. So I was like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 extends, and 4 and 5. So another 3, 3, 5, but it's not flat. It's actually expanding higher. And then we had this big ABC correction, which featured flash crashes, which made this hard to kind of pick apart too. So I said, hey, if this one wave up here, if this crash was not the correction, this was an event, and then this triangle is actually the corrective phase, and that makes more sense, giving me A, B, and C. And now I see a motive wave forming, which is kind of nerve-wracking because it means the price is trying to move higher. But where are we in that motive wave? So I said 1, 2, and then I started just extending 3 right away because it made sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top of 3. So we're probably going to a primary wave 4, which means that the price of oil is likely to retrace. Now, doesn't this top look kind of like the top that Bitcoin made before it started to slide? That's what I'm looking at. I'm seeing similar waveform analysis here. Crazy. And so wave 4 retrace could bring oil down to $42.85. Very interesting. So if the price of oil comes down, that is going to be bullish because that's going to impact CPI data too, right? So what if CPI data already shows a peak in the rising of prices, and then oil starts to drop? That sounds like a corrective bear market rally to me. Absolutely it does. And last but not least, that was last but not least. Okay, well let's just have a look at the tops here. You can see this weird topping pattern form, right? Let me show you that in Bitcoin too. That happened back here, I think. This is a similar topping pattern, and I actually need to go into the daily time frame to really show this. But yeah, so oil is like right here before that drop. Okay, moving into the mega caps, I think are next. Yes, let's start with Apple. What did Apple do? I've been expecting Apple to kind of push higher, and oh, it did. 4 days in a row. That wasn't, I mean, that's awesome, right? I think more than anything else to take away here is that this could easily be an inverted head and shoulder, but it's kind of like terrible. The shoulders are kind of funky, and the head doesn't look right. And I mean, there's still like a gap down here to fill. I think we're going back for those gaps later, much later, not right now. For now, it does look like the price is going to push higher. No real breakouts here. It's possible. Maybe we have a couple 1, 2 touch points, 1, 2 touch points, and then maybe I need to be looking for a third touch point back here or something. Yeah, I don't know. That's not really a wedge. It's not really a wedge. It is good though to see that Apple is starting to break that downtrend, right? That's bullish. So there could be a bullish breakout there of that downtrend. This chart's not super clear. I'll work on that for next week. Microsoft. I love this chart. Price just follows this massive uptrend, triple tops, and then makes a clean A, B, and C correction shown in blue, finding a bottom in that diamond, and oh, look at that, on Friday, closing above it. So this could mean that the tech stocks in general, the tech sector, is starting to find a bottom and getting ready to reverse and push higher. Perfect. That's right in line with what I'm looking for. Going into Google, Apple, or Alphabet. It was a good week for them too. It really the silver lining here, or the news, is that this didn't break down, okay? If this was to break down, it'd be a huge measured move down, but the price bounced. So this is probably as good as it's going to get now. There could be a breakout in the future higher, but this still looks a little choppy to me. I need to do some more Elliott wave analysis, but that Elliott wave analysis takes forever. So it's going to take me probably like 6 months to get Elliott wave on all of these charts, but it'll happen. This could be a bottom. I thought, a diamond might fit, if you take the lows here and connect them, and then here, and then, well, I settled actually for a descending triangle shown here in blue, and then with this horizontal level support resistance at 102.53. And what we've had a bullish breakout. Again, a bullish breakout. So we've got Apple looking bullish. We got, right, Apple looking bullish. Well, not as bullish as Microsoft, which actually did have a breakout of a bottoming pattern. Google did not, but it bounced. Amazon is breaking out. So we have 2 breakouts and 2 bullish bounces. So that's pretty good. Let's have a look at Tesla. Tesla was forming a symmetrical triangle after an ABC correction. So I'm going to need to get some Elliott wave analysis on this too. This does look like a motive waveform down and then a move sideways. But we did have a bullish breakout here as well on Friday. So I have some price targets to calculate, it looks like. So we got a couple of bullish breakouts here. If we got bullish breakouts on mega caps, that could lead the markets higher. It could, and we could start that everything but oil rally, because I think oil's coming down now. Berkshire Hathaway seems to have found some sort of consolidation pattern. Really what I'm looking for is a new high above this last high towards, what was that, 42,000? 424,000, I'm sorry. So this hasn't quite signaled a trend reversal yet, but if it does trend with everything else, we're at least going to come in for a test of this downtrend. So that'd be nice. United Healthcare. Here we go. Let's have a look at this. It's just like, is it really all that bullish? Yes, we have a bottom, but it's still not getting above this uptrend. I said it's looking like it's rejected this level once. Now it's rejecting it again. Yes, it did technically make a higher high, right? 1, 2, but 1, 2. Yeah, I don't know. And Johnson & Johnson, it's something similar. It's like, what are you even doing right now? I think as demand for like COVID stuff falls, that won't be good for these companies. Going into Meta, Facebook barf. Unfortunately, Facebook also did bounce with everything else, pulling back up into this bigger pattern, this ascending broadening wedge. I was hoping for a downward breakout, but no. Okay, here's the thing. If Facebook wants to rally and go higher, like long term, we're talking about it coming all the way back up to like $400. So it could be up like 200 or 300% in a few months. That's just maybe not a few months, maybe give it like a year. I mean, I don't like Facebook, but that's the reality, is if this company gets through their problems and they take off, then they're going to take off. Visa's just been consolidating in this triangle, nothing really to see there, and that's okay. Whew. So those are the mega caps. It really just looks like Microsoft, Tesla, and was it Amazon? I don't know. Yes, Amazon making these bullish breakouts. So that's probably a good sign that we're finding the end of downside in the tech sector, I think. And oil's looking like it's ready to come down. Bitcoin's looking like it's ready to come up, and SPX looks like it wants to push higher. So let's have a look at let's have a look at AMC. Okay, so AMC. This took a long time. So let me just run through this one step at a time. Okay, from this view, you can see that there are some downtrends in red shown above, and there are these blue things, and a lot of yellow stuff in between with a purple splashed with a little bit of hopium there at the end to finish it off nicely. Here's the thing. I think that AMC is moving through an expanding 3-3-5 pattern where the price at 36, more towards 2015, coming down to like $2 and then up to 20. That was kind of the first 3, and then going all the way up to 72, that was another 3, and then this push from 72 down, this has been a 5-wave form, and you can see that in blue, super cycles. And I think that we found the bottom. I think I actually called the exact day and got within 30 cents of the actual low. So it's looking like I'm committing to that analysis. That has to be my finest moment ever. Was back here saying that the price is gonna tank, and then not falling for any of these rallies. I didn't even fall for this one, and then calling these like the day of the low. So this is probably my best analysis. Anyway, here we go. So I'm gonna break this down. There are 5 waves here, and they break into cycle waves, which are shown in yellow. And I think I actually want to do this on a daily chart. This looks like madness. This looks like madness. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then rising wedge for super cycle corrective wave 2, and then we start heading down from there, and that starts super cycle wave 3. But here's the catch: these third waves, they extend all the time. So just start counting. Just start going down and start counting. You're gonna fractal it, right? Here we go, fractaling for cycle wave 1, 2, and then guess what? We have another 3 wave, which guess what? Also extended, and that's why that downtrend was so brutal. You had 2 extensions, 2, and so primary wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that ends primary wave 5, and then we get corrective wave 4. It's like woo, yeah, and MOS hype at these corrective phases is always terribly high. Finally, we dropped out of there, finished cycle wave 5, which finished our super cycle wave 3, and then we had cycle wave 4, which was that massive rally up to the downtrend that we established from the all-time high. Price rejected, and we start subdividing cycle waves again, 1, 2, and then extending primary wave 3 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I'm sorry, that was the cycle wave 3 that extended into primary waves. And then cycle wave 3 ends there. We have 4 pull us up back to 16, and then a big trash down. And I actually ended wave 5 at 1250 and not the low at 970. And the reason why I did that was because I think that I've broken this thing down, and I think that what we actually have seen is a flat correction, 335, and I have this shown in these yellow lines, which might be kind of hard at this maybe this time frame is better. It's just like it was very fast. It was like 1, 2. See, 5 has to end here. I can't use part of the motive wave 5 for my ABC correction, because then I'm saying that a motive wave has both motive and corrective. And it's like, no, it's like, okay, one or the other. So gap up, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then we started a 5-wave motive wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That brought us back down to about 1030, and that was the 335 flat, and then that flat extends into a triangle. So zooming out again, let me talk about this triangle a little bit. So the triangle actually starts here at A, not down here. And I did that because I didn't want to use the 335 in the extension. See, that doesn't make sense. So it's got to be the flat pattern and then the extension. And this extension was hard to break down too, because I need to find points A through E. And that's pretty easy for A, B, and C. But then the price grinds along this bottom trend line, even coming down and forming a little false breakout before passing and touching the top of D. So I decided that because the price didn't make a meaningful pass through 1290, that this more or less just says that the price was spinning on this move. And you can see that the candles seem to hug that line. Even the very tip of that wick, it was like, I want to do it, and then kaboom, and then the price got thrown back up. And that's why we had this big violent push. It's because the price was spinning on this average price rise. So I gave us A, B, C, D, and then the push down to 3 is E. And what's really important too is that in this pattern, you have to have these 1, 2, 3 kind of moves all along the way. You do, and so when you have a wave or a push higher like this that then comes back down, it gets really hard, right? So let's see here, duplicate. So this was supposed to go up and then down and then up, and so it makes this weird shape here. It's like, okay, all right, ideally this would have been up here, but it wasn't. It's like flipped upside down instead. It's weird. So you can see that there's a three waveform there, and now we see ourselves breaking out very, very, very bullishly. Very bullishly. It's exciting too, because guess what? The price target for this triangle is 1765. And this is what is unfortunate, though, is that this is a corrective bounce from the super cycle wave down. Now, the super cycle wave down was a motive wave, so 5 waves, which means we get 3 waves of bounce. 3 waves of bounce, and I think that 1765 target, that's just where the price is going to stop and consolidate before making its next motive wave higher, and it'll probably encounter these downtrends before consolidating again. And if there isn't a squeeze at that point, then, you know, they're probably done. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, because this is it. This is a corrective phase. This is the last really, really big push higher that I can see AMC making on a technical basis. This is kind of like the last hurrah, and it's kind of depending on the everything but energy rally starting as well. So if oil comes down, CPI data comes in good, SPX rises, mega caps turn around, tech industry starts finding new highs, right? Or recovering, I should say. Then I think AMC and GameStop could be forming these corrective moves higher. And that'd be really good. So let's talk about what we've seen the last couple of days or last week. Try to figure out what's going to happen Monday, Tuesday. So I said, you know what? We got motive wave 1, 2, shown in this little wedgie pennant flag thing. 2, 3 brought us up to this high at 14. This was a crazy day. I actually held a call overnight here, but I took profits really, really early because I was actually just trying to meet a threshold for my profit taking. And so I was just like, whatever. I really should have let it sit, obviously, but no, you know. That's AMC for you. You can't let it get you. 3, 4, and then 5 brought us to that high. This was really cool. If you check the posts on YouTube I shared, I was like, hey, yeah, even if the price does come up to over $15, I think it might come up to like $15.32, top out and head lower. And then it came up to $15.30 and turned around, headed lower. On Friday in the Discord, I was like, GG Bulls, it's time to go down. And then it did. And that was at point B here. And so I think this is also a 3-3-5 we're in currently. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 back down. But you know what? Another 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I think we might be looking for 4 and 5, which would mean on Monday morning we get a little push higher than a drop. And it's possible that this corrective wave actually lasts all day. Like, consider that these first 5 waves are just part of a 1 wave, right? And if that's true, then you know, you probably have a corrective wave just as long, like a day and a half long. We're only, you know, 3/4 of a day, so we might have some more consolidation to do until the close towards Monday, maybe end of Monday. We start getting some good news or something, and then we have this big push higher. And when I measured the height of the beginning of wave 1 to the end of wave 5 here, I just applied it to a nice place for a breakout, which would be right here, kind of where 3 is going to offer some support. You know, the price target, it's like 1760, 1750. It's like, hey, that's the symmetrical triangle target, right? And it could just be a corrective bounce, and that's just it. Is until we get like we need one more larger corrective cycle, and then another bullish breakout before it's like, here we go. But it just takes forever, doesn't it? It just takes forever. But these are some good rallies. And I think next week we can also look forward to this, unless we get some terrible news, like China decides they want Taiwan, right? Like, or like really, like, you know, unless we get some really bad news, I think that we're looking pretty good. Of course, I'm not going to be entering into any real trades here based on this pattern until the price can set a new high above 1532. That would signal a Bulkowski buy, and it's just like AMC to start rising and then reverse and fall down. So just remember that this is the most annoying stock ever to watch. I mean, remember how euphoric this felt on Friday? Remember how good this felt on Thursday and Friday? This was crazy. The excitement was unreal. But look at how flat that chart is. It's super flat. Super flat. And so I'm like, optimistically next week we can look for 1760. So when 16 people are asking, I don't know, maybe next week. But at the same time, I can see this topping out and turning lower. Whew, that's a lot of information, isn't it? And unfortunately and regrettably, I didn't actually get to GameStop. I did not get to do my analysis on GameStop, but I see corrective phases through here. 1, 2, 3. So here's a 3, 3, 5 through here, and 1, 2, 3. And now this is probably 1, 2. Look at this gapping occurring through here. That's weird. So, it wouldn't surprise me if we now have a triangle forming on GameStop, and that triangle might look something like this to extend that 335 I just identified. That would make a lot of sense to me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could also be a motive wave through here. Yeah, this is tough. I'll have to get back to this one. Let's have a look at American Eagle Outfitters. This is my new long position. So I bought 100 shares at $12.50, and I've been hedging that. And I've been able to hedge half of the paper losses, which is pretty good because I don't intend on selling those shares anytime soon. So everything that I earn from day trading, I'm actually going to be just holding that cash and saying, hey, I'm going to hold this balance of cash against the value of the shares. And when the shares are green, then that cash is then surplus profit, right? It's nice. So I found a motive wave down, and I said this is probably the end of it, and it was. And we now see this uptrend forming, which is nice. There's this upward channel coming in. I haven't done Elliott wave analysis on this so far. It does look like the price is starting to spin on this uptrend. I'm a little worried that this might just be a big bear flag, right? You see this downward breakout, and it could continue lower still, which would suck, but American Eagle Outfitters is one of those companies that's profitable and has a ton of short interest. Like if you looked at American Eagle short interest, if you do chase short interest, check out American Eagle Outfitters. It's insane. They did just pay a dividend, which I do like. That's why I have American Eagle Outfitters, because if a company is not giving you money for their stock, then why hold their stock? You're just hoping that it goes up later. Like that's not how I want to live. That's not how I invest. That's how I day trade. That's how I speculate. So that the nature of the entire market has turned towards speculation for me is a huge red flag. I'm looking for companies that pay dividends to shareholders so I can accumulate those shares and let those shares become a source of revenue for me. That's what I'm doing. That's what I want. So that's where I'm at with American Eagle Outfitters. Those were the 10 big mega caps, a bunch of other charts, a whole ton of Elliott wave analysis. Hopefully it all makes sense. I think the only thing people really care about is AMC. Like when 16, probably next week, probably not Monday, probably not Tuesday. So I think that's all I want to do for Capivision this week. I'm going to be adding Elliott waveform analysis to all of these charts eventually, though it will take me time. I appreciate you subscribing to my channel, and for now, happy trading.